All right, YouTube. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast Talking Auburn Football. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speak Sports Auburn. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger War Eagle. Auburn capping off a 31-20 loss to Texas A&M just a few minutes ago. Well, maybe about an hour ago. Auburn lost this football game, and it's Auburn lost this a lot of speculation has been whether Gus Malzahn should be the coach at Auburn. And there's a lot of stuff that happened in this game that is making the clamors of the Auburn fan base very justifiable. I'm the type of guy that, if you are the guy at helm, I he continues to not show up in the big games. I'm going to set some stuff up here, and then we're going to get into the meat of our discussion here today. I think the Auburn fan base, obviously, and justifiably so, should be disappointed with this game. I really hurt for the kids, honestly. Those guys went out there and put as much as possible on the line, even with seemingly lack of preparation, lack of tenacity during the game. And I'm going to talk about some key points that really make me question whether Auburn long-term should go whatever. Who, if he's fired, then who is it? I just got a message said, here's my question without hating on Gus. If he is fired, then who is it? Realistically, I don't personally see anyone. That's not my. I'm really not a proponent to say whether Gus Malzahn should be fired or not. There were a lot of things, both Gus and player related, that happened in this football game, and we're going to get into it here in just a minute. I'm just kind of speechless at this point. So I really wanted, in a lot of ways, especially being a top 5 team, I really wanted to see Auburn win this game, and close out what has been a very iffy coronavirus pandemic-filled season. I really wanted to see them win this game. To be honest, man, I really believe Gus don't want to be at Auburn anymore. Okay, let's get into the logistics of this football game. Okay, starting out, you could clearly see that the offense of Texas A&M were overmatching Auburn in a major way. If you look at the ball game, you look at the statistics, the stops that Auburn did make were largely miscues by Texas A&M. That was problem number one. And the problem stemmed at the defensive line. Number one, the defensive line could get zero push. And this is fundamental football. The defensive line gets no push. You have a very good offensive line that are able to make blocks at the next level, just kind of shoving McClain and Owen Pappo out of the way. And that's how you have the big plays. And that was something that we weren't accustomed to with Auburn's defense, because you had Derek Brown and you had Marlon Davidson and you had Tyrone Truesdale and Cornelius Miller and some of those other guys from last year, Daquan Newkirk, that were able to, as a team, really wreak some havoc with offensive linemen. But what we have now with, Daquan Newkirk there and, Cornelius Miller obviously not there anymore, Big Cat Bryant, those guys are not nearly as athletic and not nearly as cohesive or experienced as a team with what you had on last year. So what you get is a complete debacle. Um, so in that regard, Auburn's defense really struggled, really struggle. Can improve with what's there. We'll talk about that in just a second. But to counter that, Texas A&M moving the ball at will. Gus Malzahn and his offense with Chad Morris. First drive of the game, you see where this is headed as far as your offense, your defense not really being able to be sound enough to stop a very talented offensive line slash quarterback and slash running back by committee that Texas A&M have. You have a very short fourth down situation. This is the kind of shit right here that really gets under my skin about Gus Malzahn. In a game, you have you don't have shit to lose. You don't have nothing to lose. Fourth down, maybe fourth down and 1.5. You have a capable running back in Tank Bigsby. Bo Nix can run the ball. I just didn't understand how you don't go for it. How do you not go for it? I get it. Gus Malzahn is the king of conservative when it comes to fourth. He'll punt on 4th and inches. However, I think he could have gave his team a spark by going for it on 4th down. I think they would have got it 1st and 4th and like 1.5. I think they would have gotten it and given your team some momentum and giving your team some belief. Like, hey, you can't say that if you're a football player, you're not going to get behind your coach if he takes a chance to say, it sends the message and says, look, this is the number 5 team in the country. We're going to do all we can to win this game. We're going to take advantage of every opportunity. But this punting on 4th and 1.5, that doesn't send the message to me, in my honest opinion. That doesn't send the message to me that the coach was willing to take the calculated risk. That's the thing about Gus Malzahn, is he doesn't want to take the calculated risk. He doesn't want to be the guy where if the game is lost, he doesn't want it to be obvious and say, well, if you wouldn't have gone for it on 4th down, then the team may have won. He wants you to dissect little shit as to why he lost the game. He doesn't want to make it glaringly obvious. And just like Dwayne Phillips says, yes, you take on, that's in any organization, whether it's the workforce, whether it's a ball team, whether it's any type of organization, the associates, the players, the employees, they take on the identity of the leader. And it's just, and that's just the truth. I don't think, yes, Gus Malzahn can't control a lot of the execution on the field. No, he can't catch an interception and he can't run the football. At the same time, those motivating factors do contribute to guys making big plays. All right, let's read some of the comments. The man gets criticized at every turn. And that's what I'm saying. That's the thing. I was for it. I didn't give a shit if he didn't get the first down or not. To be fair, I didn't. I just wanted to see him take a risk. That's it. I wanted to see him take a risk. The fans, they can say whatever they want. But I wanted to see him take the risk. He never does it. He absolutely never does it. And Urban Meyer is absolutely not coming to Auburn because Urban Meyer would have another stroke trying to recruit against Nick Saban, trying to win in the SEC West. Listen, trying to win in the SEC West, no. Urban Meyer will be there 3 years. He will have a damn stroke, an aneurysm, and a heart attack all at the same time. All right, so Bo Nix look like running backs. Bo Nix sets his feet. I think that's a coachable moment. I think that's it shouldn't, in my opinion, it shouldn't have come down to that. But a coachable moment, you set your feet, you throw the football, that's a touchdown. Eli Stove walks in the end zone. I think he probably maybe got a little excited, or just like a YouTuber said earlier in the year, and not to bash Bo Nix as a quarterback for Auburn. Maybe he's just fundamentally not that good when it comes to stuff like that. You know, I would not want within a, oh yeah, nobody want that. You coming down and you got the fan base with these, I mean, realistic expectations to a certain degree. You have to battle with Nick Saban, now not Urban Meyer, but now Lane Kiffin. Um, in the SEC West now, Jimbo Fisher, whose team looks, at least from a line of scrimmage standpoint, they look like a championship caliber team. I will say that they really, from on both sides of the line of scrimmage, they both look like championship caliber teams. Okay, so Lucius, I hope I'm saying your name right. Lucius Carter asked the $1,000,000 question, something that we've been really quiet about. Um, you know, is the Auburn defense. Now, Marlon Davidson and Derek Brown and the combination of KJ Britt, Owen Papo, and Zacoby McClain interior, they were able to mask some things that Kevin Steele struggles with. Let's look back to the 2018 defense, where Kevin Steele, down the stretch, his defense allowed about 450 yards per game. They allowed the upwards of about 23 to 25 first downs per game, and a little over 30 points per game. That's not good defense. And luckily, they were able to pull something together against Texas A&M and actually close that game out and win that game, but then go back to Georgia and now allow another 27 points, and then go to Alabama and allow another 52 points. So by and large, Kevin Steele has had his successful moments, but really overall, as like a just a sound, solid, consistent defense, hasn't always been there. And a lot of the reasons too is personnel as well as schematics. I just hated the scheme today. I really hated the scheme today. You already see that your defensive line is struggling. Why not add another defensive lineman? Why not stack the box? Make these guys pass on you. But you continue to do the ridiculousness that has been going on for the past few weeks. 4 down linemen and 2 undersized linebackers, to where all the down lineman, offensive lineman has to do is kick out, get to the next level, kick the linebackers out. That's why you see all these ridiculously long plays. All right, so let's look at the comment section again. It was something that I was trying to make sure of here with the whole YouTube thing. Hang on. Bo Nix, take Bo Nix out. And that's some comments from another video. Hang on just a second, y'all. All right, maybe not. But anyway, that's what's happening with your defense. Offensive linemen able to get to the next level. Long running plays. I think Auburn has had probably more explosive running plays against them than I've seen in recent history. I have not, even under the Kevin Steele has been pretty good on the run. I've never seen a Kevin Steele defense get gashed like this on the run. Usually the back-breaking stuff against Kevin Steele is usually those pass plays, those intermediate passing plays, like the one against LSU that led to the 22-21 win. But, I've just never seen them get gashed in the in the run game like this. Christian Tutt, let's talk about him real quick. Every time I'm in a group, we talk about it all week in and week out. He's always the one. Out of position, out of place, missing tackles. That's all I'll say about Christian Tutt. Wolf Production says our expectations are high, too high every year. Maybe. I'll say maybe. I'm gonna tell you about Auburn and expectations. Here's what the typical Auburn fan does. Because I used to be one of them. They come into the season. They prepare for the worst but wish for the best, and that's just kind of how it is. But then the expectations change once the season starts. Because really, when Auburn fans come into the season, they don't know what to expect. To be fair, I remember even back in 2010, no way did I expect Auburn to win the national championship. Back in 2004, when Auburn went undefeated, I didn't have a clue as to what was going to happen that year. I knew Jason Campbell had been kind of struggling. I knew we were pretty okay, you know what I'm saying? But I just didn't come in thinking, okay, well, we're going to win a national championship. Here's what happened in those years. A&M played with a lot of confidence. They were, ooh, man. I'll get to that in a second. But either way, going into the 2004 season, had no clue that Auburn would be undefeated with an outside opportunity to win the national championship. Now, do I think they would have beaten USC? I kind of don't, but that's will always be up for debate and not even relevant to this part of the conversation. But either way, 2010, did I expect Auburn to go undefeated? No, I didn't think Auburn was a championship, a team that could actually make a run at it until I think I was starting to become a believer in 2010 when we beat Arkansas. I was actually at that game. I expected Auburn to lose and probably should have. All that magical stuff happened that day and Auburn wins. That's when I was like, okay, maybe these guys might be on to something. 2013, there's not a single one of you. We still talk. Okay, those of you who have just joined right now, we're talking about Auburn fan expectations. In 2013, none of you all can say Gus Malzahn's first year. Of course, we're not sunshine pumping Gus. We're just talking about fan expectations. None of you all can say that going into that season, you would have seen Auburn as the going to the national championship that year. You didn't see it. You didn't know that Auburn was even going to the SEC championship game until the not the miracle that Jordan had, the kick six. You didn't know that. Still didn't know going into the SEC championship whether Auburn would beat Missouri or not. However, let me help some of the Auburn fans with them. Let me help you. Okay, let me help you understand where your expectations come from. It doesn't come at the beginning of the season because you don't really know what the hell is going on. Okay, what you do is Auburn starts the season, and let's just say they beat Washington. They win the next game. Now the expectations start. Now, other teams like Alabama and Clemson and Georgia and all those other teams, they kind of know what they're getting because of consistent recruiting and because of consistent coaching. But Auburn, this is bad. Okay. Yeah, but Auburn, you just never know. You never know because you just aren't that solid as far as confidence in the team or maybe even knowledge of the team, or you just afraid to say because you've been let down so many times. You don't know. But then when the team starts to experience some success, like let's take it back to 2017, the team starts to experience some success and you start listening to the media that tells you, okay, Auburn is among the top teams in the country, have an outside shot at making it to the college football playoff, the first two-loss team in history to make it to the college foot. Now you're 2010, Dwayne, I don't know, man. Going in that season, I knew once I figured out who Cam Newton was, first game against Arkansas, I was like, holy shit, this guy's actually pretty good when I saw him dashing down the sideline. But there were moments in that game where I was like, I don't know, struggling against Mississippi State. Barely had to bank on some luck against Clemson. Nice comeback from behind win against South Carolina, and then things started to make sense to where you have obviously the best season in Auburn history winning a national championship. But to round this thing up, we're going to ask a few questions now. Is Seth sandbagging now, thinking about the NFL? You know, I had some questions about Seth this game. I mean, I think in the big games, he's not targeted enough. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look at film on some of these big games to see whether he's double teamed or whatever. But he's like a no call, no show at work. No call, no show. Hadn't heard from him. Auburn will always have the opportunity to lose 2 games every year and still get to the college football playoffs considering their schedule. But see, what has to stop happening, Lawrence, is they got to quit losing the bullshit games. Like South Carolina. What happens is they'll have this opportunity, but then they'll lose a bullshit game. They'll lose a bullshit game like you're running the table and Ole Miss or Mississippi State comes up on the schedule. And now you're that's one of the 2 losses that you have. 11 Jinx Fire. What was your prediction? You know what, Andre? I think I predicted 24-21, which I was kind of on pace for that. I thought Auburn would win, but had some opportunities, but obviously came up short. Let's see. 8-2, 5-5 this year. I just don't think Tut disappointed me all year. 0 lose Bama's Clemson team, shade to go to the playoffs. Like I said before, Auburn will always find a way to lose those unnecessary games and put themselves in a bind to where you have to have help from other teams. It's never going to be a 1-loss situation. It's always going to be 2. It's going to be 1 loss to a team that they probably could have lost to, and then it's going to be a bullshit loss. I'll tell you what, though, and I'm going to leave you guys with this. Let's just say Gus stays. Let's just say Auburn doesn't fire Gus. Until Gus Malzahn, which I haven't seen any sign that he's going to do this. But until Gus Malzahn's develops some type of killer or at least some type of aggressive instinct in situational play calling, Auburn is not making the damn playoffs. Number 2, recruiting obviously has to improve. 3, the facilities. Auburn has to make a commitment to facilities because these kids want to go somewhere where they're comfortable with for their time at the school. And the last thing that I think Auburn would definitely have to do to possibly get to a point where they're competing for championships is the assistant coaching, some assistant coaching upgrades. I think the wide receiver position is null and void. Here's the deal. This is what really was glaring to me. Auburn had a situation where it was 3rd down and 8. Auburn is called for holding, right? So Texas A&M actually declines the damn penalty. You know why? Because they knew Auburn did not have a chance in hell to make a 3rd and freaking 8. No team in the country respects Auburn enough to make them to accept the penalty to go 3rd and 18. They challenge Auburn 3rd and 8. You can't do it. You absolutely can't do it. You can't convert on us. If it's 3rd down, matter of fact, for this year, 3rd down and over 5 is a lot to ask of this offense. The system is flawed. The system is flawed. Without a good offensive line, without good skill players, all in unison, this offense absolutely doesn't work. And can Auburn recruit the type of elite athletes that want to play in this kind of offense? I don't know. I doubt it. Because just look at Sammy Coates. Just look at Ricardo Lewis. Those guys struggle like hell in the NFL because they didn't have a chance to accentuate their true talents. That's why a lot of elite athletes, a lot of elite skill players, especially at wide receiver, and offensive linemen. I saw a lot of that today too. So until the scheme changes, Alabama, Clemson, some of the top teams in the country have an offensive scheme that is a direct reflection of what they will see in the NFL. So until that changes, these videos obviously will continue. I got one coming tomorrow. We're going to talk about the day after. That way I get a chance to look at the game. I kind of don't want to look at it anymore, but I'm going to check it out, see what all happened. Yeah, that's the thing too, Mark. I'm talking about the aggression. What the hell do you have to lose? And how do you not challenge that? And how did they not review it? Anyway, it was questionable. You know what I'm saying? It was absolutely questionable. Gus Malzahn, what was he trying to save? A timeout for what? Let him review it, because he did kind of bobble it a little bit. It could have been a situation where there wasn't enough conclusive evidence, but why not challenge it? All right, guys, that's my time here, man. I thoroughly enjoyed doing this with you all. Got some more videos coming. Auburn has one more game left against Mississippi State. That is what I believe could be a winnable game for the Tigers, finishing off this season 6-4. Then we will get into basketball action, as Auburn has started basketball. Now, basketball is a little bit more challenging because they play a lot more often, but I'm going to catch as many games and kind of give you some details on those games as much as I possibly can. There was a big holding call that was missed. Want to give a big shout out to all the fans that continues to support this channel, even though Auburn is struggling this year. Lets me know you guys are not fair weather fans. You believe in Auburn and love it. Go ahead and like this video. If you know somebody that's an Auburn fan that's not coming over here and talking trash with us and calling me a Gus Malzahn sunshine pumper, saying that Cody Burns should be coach of the year. If you know somebody that wants to hear all that bullshit, please bring them over so we can talk trash. I do not think Cody Burns should be up for any award. How did he wind up being the wide receiver coach anyway? Y'all leave that in the comments. Bo Nix on the road. See, now y'all are gonna make it to where I gotta go. Y'all still commenting this stuff. I'm gonna do a video tomorrow. Okay, I'm gonna do a video tomorrow. I might even do a live tomorrow, because we're not done with this yet. Definitely appreciate you all support. This is not an easy thing to do, especially considering Auburn fans are tough. They're tough. They're a tough group. But as I said, as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger. War Eagle.